Last time you fought was in March, so we go again in September. I know you've just come off training now, so how hard are you training at the moment?
Very, very hard. I went down to Wanganui not long ago, about a week ago, and my mom first thing she said is, you're looking lean. But then my dad chimed in and said, you're looking very lean, and it's because I've been pushing. So this week was kind of my deload week because I kind of got a little bit sick. I guess you're only human at the end of the day. So, yeah, I've been pushing. But today, sparring, I had a good go. Mike was on the sidelines yelling obscenities, as he does. But, it was a good time.
When he says pushing, what does he mean by pushing?
Oh, he's just pushing the envelope. You work outside of your thresholds. You try and get those incremental gains. And, those things, the difference between, good and great is you just push that little bit harder, whether it's developing a skill or pushing your conditioning. Yeah. So he's talking about both those things.
Like even today when shout out to Kevin, one of our teammates, a judo master, and he called me for one of my rounds after I had a hard round with someone else. And initially I was going to go like, nah, I'm going to go with someone a little bit more easy I can rest with. But then my mind just said, nah, I've been doing that the last week now. While I've been deloading, I've been uploading my mind and just pushing. Like even yesterday I told Mike I was in the pool, the cold pool at my place, and then jump in the spot, then jump in the pool again, just to like get the mind out of its comfort zone. So yeah, it's paying off because even today I didn't hesitate when Kevin called me. Normally I'd shy away and be like, I'm going to go with this guy first rest and then go with Kevin. But I was like, nah, let's go. Yeah,
it's a familiar pattern you see with different athletes. So you see when Izzy's just cruising and joking and, he's turned up. He turns up because he's been out till midnight, because he's off camp.
Midnight.
He switches. That's when he gets up. But he switched. I was trying to be nice, all right. But you see the switch, and the switch is flicked now because this fight's important. It's great they don't like each other either because it makes them that much more interesting.
Two undefeated fighters, yeah. And what we're looking at is 253 Paulo Costa. Your last fight against Yoel Romero went the full 5 rounds, the full 5-minute rounds, and copped a little bit of criticism because of the technical side of that fight. I was more interested in the mind game of going 5 full 5-minute rounds and the absolute concentration that you got to exert during that time. Yeah. Do you shut down and switch back on again, like in between rounds, or is it just full on for that whole?
No, you're pretty full on. The best fight I can use to describe that was the Gastelum fight where I first won the title in Atlanta. I was switched on for five rounds, that was 25 minutes, fully switched on. This last fight was a bit different, and I spoke about this yesterday with someone on an interview for the Countdown, actually, when I was filming it. What you do in fighting is like you present your opponent with something they've never seen before, something out of the ordinary. And he did just that in the first 3 minutes of the fight, where he just stood still and didn't move at all. And then he caught me with a left, overhand left, and then he didn't even try and do anything after that. He thought, okay, cool, I'll do it again. But the difference with me is that when you catch me once, if it doesn't put me away, you're not catching me with that same shit again. So he was banking on it, and he never got it again.
Justin, we got you waiting online. You got a question for Israel?
Last Albender Adesanya.
Hey, my guy, what's happening?
Yeah, respect. So 2 quick questions. Firstly, is he this fight, in terms of the approach, is it the same strategy in terms of setting the traps as you do, and you go ahead with every single one of your class fights, a mind game? Is that how you get under the skin? And the second one is, who do you call out after that, sir? Because there's a big fight until waiting for you.
Yeah. So this fight, I kind of hope this COVID thing wasn't happening because I would have loved to have I would have loved to have a press, like a World Tour press conference with him and just poked him verbally, embarrass him on the mic, and then not embarrass him on the night. But unfortunately, I can't. But he's already primed. Like, I don't need to. This guy is just a bull with a peanut for a brain, so he's going to come charging. Yeah, the juice monkey, you know the vibe. I mean, I don't even have to try and get under his skin. If I touch his skin, it'd probably rip from all the juice he's been popping. But, yeah, and who I have to call out? I don't call anyone out. They'll call me out because I'm the champ.
Yeah, true that, Adesanya. Good luck, my man.
And thank you.
We're all rooting for you, the whole country, brother.
Respect, brother, respect.
Thank you, my man.
Do you have to be naturally aggressive to do what you do? Do you
No.
feel no?
I'm soft. I'm a nice guy. Mike knows this. We're both
Well,
like.
that's the thing. I mean, I love Mike so much. We've known each other for such a long time, and yet he gets in there and he punches and kicks people in the
Yeah,
face and
he
does all
does.
that kind of stuff.
It's all that repressed anger.
But you've got to channel that too, don't you? Like you can't. Do you find you get mad in the ring at all if somebody hits you? Or what? No.
No, not mad. So there's two things that you have to learn. Emotional response to anger is not the same as when you control it. There's a difference, and I learned this through my therapist. Actually, she taught me how to like respond and raise the feeling of anger without using past trauma or emotions to get you angry. Like there's certain times where you can be really assertive and you can change your tone and let someone know you mean business because you know it's time to go. But then there's times when if you get emotional in there, you'll get like there's a fight. Example, the fight with Brunson was a perfect example where Derek Brunson was cheating. He grabbed my shorts twice, and then I don't know this guy. I don't have any attachment to him. He's not my friend, my brother, nothing. So when I got angry at him, it was purely because he was cheating in that moment. But there's a difference if it's someone like Mike does something to piss me off. I have an emotional connection to Mike, and that's an emotional attachment. So this fight with Brunson was nothing. And when I got angry, I used that. I used that feeling of anger, and I used it to dismantle him.
Yeah, another thing we say to fighters quite often, there's a big difference between blind fury, when you lose your nuts,
Lose your rag,
and cold fury, just piercing, cold fusion. And
Using that to focus.
Yeah,
Bringing
exactly
that. One thing I love that you do, and I believe in this kind of stuff, is at the entrances, reaching up and bringing in the love and the spirit and the good feeling and that from everyone and bringing it inside.
You watch Dragon Ball Z?
Oh, that kind of stuff to me works. It really just resonates with me because I'm watching you and I think I want you to feel what we're feeling, and the fact that you're able to do something that brings that and says to you that I got a
You
lot.
gave me chills when you said that. That was
man,
cool.
it's
Now, like you watched
fantastic,
the entrance I did at UFC 243. When I had my hand in the air, I told all my friends, the people that know, I said, when you see my hand in the air, like similar to Dragon Ball Z, I just said, everyone, just put your hands up. I want to feel you. So when I brought my hand back down, I kissed it and I pushed it on my chest. You watch the tape again. I did that because people think I'm doing this shit for fun. I believe this.
I believe that.
Yeah,
exactly.
I
believe that.
That's why I got chills when you said that.
Yeah, whether you know people feel it, but all of us who are sports fans, somehow when we're looking at the TV or from a far distance away, we want those on the field to feel us. And however it happens, whether you imagine it, whether it's actually, I think it's real.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So if you ever see me with my hands up, just put your hands in the air and give me that energy. So when I bring it back down, I've got you with me.
Couple of questions about the money. And I was asking Mike about this before. You know how in boxing there's always a purse and people say this is what you're fighting for and things. It's not as publicised as much. So do you have to negotiate a cut of that pay-per-view? Because that's where the cash is, isn't it?
There's levels to it. So in the UFC, there's disclosed pay. So people sometimes, when I was a fan, I was one of these people as well that was like, I'd see the disclosed pay from a fighter's purse and whatever from the whole card. And I'm like, man, this is crazy. Da-da-da-da-da. But then now that I'm in the UFC, when I've seen my disclosed play, I'm just like, oh, because people think that's what I'm getting paid fully. But there's the other stuff, the undisclosed pay.
Yeah.
So it's different when you're on this side. Because I've lived both sides. I've been a fan of the UFC and just watched it as a fan, and I've been, a fighter in the UFC and deal with the promotion. But we're always, like for me personally, we're always fighting for a nice slice of the pie, And in boxing, people always say, "Oh, boxing has more money than MMA." Not really. The thing is, there's like 6 boxers in the world that make crazy money. Like I'm talking 20 million, 50 million. There's like 6 or 7 boxers in the world out of the hundreds of thousands of boxers. The rest all make either 300,000, 500,000, 50,000, whatever. Some even make like 2,000. But there's the main ones that you see. But a guy like Conor McGregor was one of the people that you have to give him his credit. He let people know. He let people know that there's money to be made in MMA. And then people they tell me, "Oh, are you ever going to go to boxing and get 100?" I'm like, nah. Like, why would I do that? Because it'll limit my fighting style. But also, I believe I can make that kind of money in MMA with what I bring.
Is it scary at all? And I mean, I can't imagine how it can't be. Whether it's the fear of actually getting hit or whether the fear of losing. What do you face?
I'll give you a story. So on Thursday, I went with Carl Thompson, who's a famous New Zealand drifter.
Sorry, look, somebody's actually said, look, can you please tell him to stop swearing?
Really?
Oh, look, it's just one of
Wait,
those
how
things.
old are they?
Well, we're on Newstalk ZB. I'll tell you what, the difference is when you hear it over, it's kind of like we can all sort of say
Yeah,
it.
but we're all adults. Like,
I
don't
know
we
we
talk
are.
like
I
this?
know.
So whoever texted that, we're all adults. Relax,
Right.
right? Anyway, back to my story. Back to my story.
Back to your story.
So Carl Thompson, he's a famous New Zealand drifter, right? He took me for a ride on Thursday out in Pukekohe, and we were going sideways at the track, 200 Ks. But then yesterday, he had an accident because he was pushing it, and with himself, he pushes the limit. But with me, he was just showing me what it was like. But someone asked me afterwards, like, "Were you scared?" They were like, "John, like, were you scared?" I was like, "Nah, I was fine." I was gonna go skydiving yesterday, but then the weather didn't permit, so they canceled the dive. But I like doing things that make me feel out of my comfort zone, because that's where you grow. And in this camp, I've been doing that a little bit more. But after the close call on the track and the close call in the sky, I'm like, you know what? I'll find other ways to push that as well.
Ross Norman, I'm going to give you that name. Do you know Ross Norman, the world champion squash player? He jumped out of a plane, did his knee, and was very lucky to come. Are you letting him do this stuff, man?
They don't let me do what I want to do. I do what I want to do.
He never told us that. I just like, really? Were you going skydiving yesterday? Okay. We'll just have a little chat later.
Israel, it's probably if Israel Adesanya is in the studio with us, 0800 80 1080, you want to ask him a question, 9292 on the text. I know you're only 31 and there's still so much in front of you, though. Do you see an end to this, an end game at some stage? Because I know with so many fighters, it's so hard to get out once you're in.
I'm not one of those. I'm going to be one of these people that when it's time to go, I'm out and you won't see me again.
Well, you know that.
I already know. I already have my plan. But I can be the best at this game. I can fight for another 10 years, but I've been fighting for the last 10 years. You know,
you've been fighting a lot longer than that. By the sounds of your story,
I've had over 100 fights all around.
But also growing up, you were fighting, weren't you?
Yeah, exactly. So it's like I want to do other things as well. There's other things I want to do. Start a family. I want to have my hand in other businesses. And shout out to my father as well, because he's a guy that's very, very smart and always like in the shadows watching and just making sure and helping me make sure I don't end up as one of these statistics or like sad stories in combat sports or in sports in general, and entertainment, you know. You get up there and then you lose it all because mismanagement and whatnot. So, yeah, I have other plans. Fighting is fun, and I'm grateful for this part of my life. But it's not. I'm not gonna be one of these people that when it's gone, I'm gonna be like, oh, where's the attention? Like you see Mayweather, he's retired.
He can't help it though.
He can't help it.
Can't help it. No,
that's not me. When I'm done, you will never see me again unless I want you to.
Who do you admire? We'll take a call in a second. Who do you admire in terms of fighters? They don't have to be UFC or MMA. They can be boxers.
Just fighters in general. A lot of people I admire. First name that came to mind right now is Muhammad Ali.
Yeah,
I guess because of what's going on in the world. And sometimes I speak my mind. Most times when I'm put on a platform to speak, like the person on the text kind of realized.
Sure. Look, we had another one here, and
yeah.
You know, because I saw you in the Black Lives Matter protest,
yeah.
And somebody had actually texted in earlier and say, you know, why'd you call somebody a cracker when you're actually responding to them on the Facebook?
Because they were being a racist.
Well, see, you know, the first thing I wanted to know is, do you do these things yourself? Do you handle your own page?
Yeah, my own media. Yeah, I handle myself. But if someone's being blatantly racist on my page and I give them a taste of their own medicine and they go, oh, you say that about me, then it's just, what do you call it, virtue signaling, you know? And that's the thing. It's just people like to be offended for whatever. So if you're a racist cracker and I call you a racist cracker, then shut up, you racist cracker.
Important for you to use these platforms, though, and actually have that voice. I was watching the NBA yesterday, and the way that the game started now, there's words on the back of the shirts. There's everyone's got a kneel, everyone's got a fist, and so forth. And that kind of line between it's sport at the same time as you've got such a powerful voice.
I talked about Muhammad Ali. He's a guy that, better than anyone else, he put his whole career on the line and said, I'm not going to go over to Vietnam and fight some Viet Cong.
Don't never call me a nigger. That's what
exactly. Yeah. So why in the world would I mean, even me now, I've had to take a step back because the state of the world is so crazy. It's so crazy. And I'm like, who's actually manufacturing this? Because I've seen some stuff online where it's like all these riots and whatnot, still in America, still going on.
Oh, yeah.
And I've had to step back and look because, you know, as a human, I have an emotional reaction when I see a guy get his neck knelt on by an officer, you know? So I have to step back and look at the big picture. And there's certain things I can speak on, but there's certain things I can't speak on yet because it's not brought to light. But in time, I think everything will come to light.
Aiden, thanks for waiting. You got a question?
Yeah, I do. Hi, Israel. How you doing?
Very well, my man. What's up, Aiden?
Yeah, pretty good, mate. Pretty good. Hey, we see you obviously, at fight time, and we see you in the build-up to fights, and now we're hearing you on the radio today, so that's awesome. But away from that scene, what do you do to relax? What sort of things do you do to unwind and just have a good time?
Me, I like being by myself, contrary to popular belief. I like being with my own thoughts. I like to be in my own zone. So after this, I have an appointment. That's why I have to leave with my therapist at 2 p.m. Then after that, I'm just going to chill in my apartment and relax.
Hang on a second, the therapist. So what does the therapist do? What do you tell the therapist?
Well, I'm human, don't I? Everyone, everyone in this world has things they have to deal with, but no one ever deals with them. They all repress it, and it comes out in different ways. Same thing I've seen, in town. You go to town, you see people just purging, drinking, drugging, and but it's because they have things they haven't dealt with. So I find healthier ways. Like after my UFC debut, I killed that. I stole the show. I came back home, bonus of $50K US, paid my purse and my win bonus. I'm up. I'm the guy, and then I'm sad. I'm like, why am I sad? Why am I depressed? What's wrong? So instantly I knew that, okay, this is something I can't deal with alone. I need to go find someone to help me and get the tools to deal with it myself. So now I have, but it's like training. If you train the body, if you're sick, don't you go to the hospital? So
same as the mind, man.
Exactly. Yeah. The mind, if you feel a little bit ill, before you get fully mentally ill, go to someone who can help you out. But it's not, I speak about it because it's been spoken about a little bit more these days and age. But yeah, you have to look after your mental health as well as your physical health.
See, it's such a powerful message, and I've said that twice to you now, and it's somebody like you saying it makes a heck of a lot of difference to a heck of a lot of people. You can get told it by whoever you want. Yeah. So what I'm gearing at is that you appear to me that you accept the role of a role model, even if that's not the right words for it, because you are regardless. As I said to you, my 17-year-old's coming in here. He loves you to bits, mate.
He does.
And it's not something that you put on yourself, but people are going to look at you and they're going to want. You see where I'm getting with
Exactly, of course. I understand the pedestal I've been put on, but at the same time, I'm never going to be one of these guys who plays a part or tries to act, because I could be, and try and be the poster boy for, because I know some of these rugby guys. No, literally, I know some of these guys out here, superstars who have that image, but then I know what they do, behind the scenes. But at the same time, I'm not perfect. I make mistakes all the time. I'm going to make more mistakes. Thing is, whenever I make a mistake, I always learn from it and I acknowledge it. I don't make the same mistake twice so often, So, yeah, the whole role model thing, people like to go, oh, why are you swearing? I'm like, bro, I'm an adult. Shut up.
That's who you are, yeah. Hey, Jethro's on the line. He wants to talk about your relationship with Masvidal. Go, Jethro.
Masvidal.
Yeah. Hi, Izzy. Big fan, man.
Thank you, sir. What's up?
Hey. I was just going to ask you, before your Romero fight, Jorge Masvidal come out and reckoned that his boy was going to put your lights out. Obviously, that didn't happen, but sort of post-fight, even the week after, I saw an interview with Masvidal and he was singing your praises hard out.
Yeah.
So, do you go back to some of these guys and say, look, your boy didn't turn up on the night, or do you let it worry you? Or
Nah, never. So with Jorge, we filmed, if you don't know, I'm on the cover of UFC 4 EA with Masvidal. So we did that shoot that week.
Pretty big time, eh?
That fight week. Literally,
big time, man.
I was right with him that fight week, and we were cool. We were cordial. And afterwards he said, good luck, do your thing, rah. Same thing as him. He fought my brother, Kamaru Usman. And he was, touted to be the guy to take out Kamaru Usman. He didn't get it done. But it's still respect at the end of the day. Me and him have a mutual respect for each other because we're on the same journey, but we're taking different paths. Every fighter has, but we're all going for the same shit. We're going for the world title, but we have different paths. So we can all empathize and understand what we have to do. So his boy, Romero, couldn't do what he said he wanted to do. But I'm not going to go back to him and be like, I told you so. But he knows I'm a G. I've met him before, even before that in Vegas. And yeah, real recognized real, put it that way.
Yeah, too good, man.
Sure.
We've got the Wanganui thing in common too. That's where the family's from too.
Hey, for real. What part?
Yeah.
Castle Cliff?
I was going to say Wanganui Heights, but I think it's a state housing area to be perfectly honest. So, why do you threaten to kill opponents, Jeff says? Ask him that. Why do you threaten to kill people?
Why do I threaten to kill people? I plead the fifth. I don't know what he's talking about.
Well, I think sometimes when it comes to the build-up to a fight, you say, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do
Well, actually, back to the Kelvin Gastelum fight. So, if you haven't watched that fight, Kevin or Kelvin, whatever your name is, he rocked me in the first round. My ass never hit the ground, but that was the first time and only time I've ever been hurt in a fight, and like in the UFC. And everyone was like, "Oh snap! Oh shit! It's time! The hype train's about to crash finally!" And the people were salivating. Second round, I dropped his ass. I put him on his ass.
Can I just interrupt you there? So when you get hurt, like tell me what that is.
So when I got rocked in that fight, he caught me with a right hook, and I hit the fence, and straight away I took the center of the range or of the cage. I took the center and went back to work. But he got that round, and in the second round, he came in like I think he was overly confident that he's going to do it again, and I dropped him and then let him know. Because even before the fight, he said, "Oh, I don't see no pop in his punches," and I popped him right in his face. And then the third round, I dusted him. And the fourth round, I was beating his ass. But then he played a very, very magnificent chess move. He hadn't thrown a kick the whole fight, and he throws a left high kick, rocks me, doesn't even realize he hurt me because I have a good poker face. And then in the fifth round, me and Eugene had words. Mike was there as well. And then I remember when it was like, all right, cool, everyone get out, let's go, fifth round. And I looked across the cage from him and I said, "You're not going to beat me. I'm prepared to die." When I said that, I meant that shit. I literally meant that. If I had died right there, what a glorious way to go out. But also, if I'm ready to die, then I'm ready to kill.
See, this is what I think when you're talking about, it makes more sense to
me now.
We know
what we signed up for. Me and him,
yeah,
if someone like you guys, are like the spectator, you don't understand because you've never, ever been in there. But when you're in there, like, I was prepared to die. I signed my life away. Like, if he kills me, this is it. But I was trying to beat his ass. I was trying to take him out as well. And if he had died, I would feel horrible, but I would be able to sleep that night.
See, this is where I go back now to, and I understand why you sit there and you need or feel the need, you go and talk to somebody, because the adrenaline and the mind to get into that kind of state, where is the down to that, Mike? I mean, because you've got to come off that trip, don't you, at some stage? You can't walk around like that.
If you drink a whole lot of coffee, what do? You're up,
yeah,
and then you crash. But it's not the mind thing. Mostly for me, it's the people. Like, it's not natural to have like 20 cameras in your face. It's not natural to not be able to walk down the street after your UFC debut and have people. My after party was literally 3.5 hours of me taking photos. Excuse me, 3.5 hours of me taking photos. And for me, it's just taxing. People just constantly taking your energy, bits and pieces of you. Mm-hmm. What happens when you go back home and you just want some time to yourself? Even at the after party, I went to go hide, and some guy saw me. I was like, "Oh, bro, you all right? You all right?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just having an alone time." And he goes, "Oh, yeah, I know." And sats right next to me. I'm like, I'm having some alone time.
It's not uncommon to fighters in general, but particularly when you get to the stature of where Israel is at. And people don't believe it, but he's naturally an introvert. You know, at home, when we were living together years ago, most of his time is on his own with his dogs, with his very, very close friends. Just reflecting on stuff. Once you get into this spectrum, and in New Zealand we don't really have an idea. We get a glimpse with the All Blacks, but the All Blacks, relatively speaking, is nothing. He's a global superstar. People think they have a right to a piece of him.
They want a little bit of you, don't they?
Imagine this: you're having like dinner with your wife, and every 3 to 5 minutes, someone comes up, wants to say hello. Yeah. All that does is just ruin the flow of the conversation, ruins the vibe. And as your wife, it'll be like, why am I even like, what's all this? Like, it ruins it. Like, if I go out with my girl, I have a rule. I'm like, no, if you want a photo, you ask her.
You have to.
So, she's the boss. That
all comes with it, though, doesn't it? And is that going to be hard to step away from? You'll never not now be well known.
I mean, it's kind of like Mike Tyson. I know where I'm going to end up as, but I know how I'm going to handle it. I'm not going to handle it like some of these guys who constantly clamor for it. But, I mean, you saw how I came in today. I'm bare feet.
Yeah, he's got bare feet. I just come from the spa.
Yeah, I've got my hunting jacket on.
Exactly.
Like, I look like I'm homeless walking around Auckland City. So people kind of like, is that? Nah, it can't be him. He's not got no shoes on. Nah, but it looks like him. But then they can just watch from afar, like bird watching. And I don't mind that. If you like, even there's so many stories I have with celebrities. I was dancing on Lil Jon's table with Jamie Foxx on his birthday in Vegas, but I don't have a photo of it because I was in the moment. I wasn't there like, oh, can I? Because sometimes it kind of ruins the moment, you know.
Well, that's what these things do these days, mate. Yeah. I mean, everything's on a bloody phone, and everyone's got to stop.
But if I'd been like, oh, can I get a photo? I felt like it would have been so disingenuous and it would have ruined the flow. You know what I mean? So I just have that story to tell, and there's a crazy story. I only told you the safe part.
How does the family feel about it, and how have they reacted to the fact that you're still their son, you're still their sibling and everything else, and yet, you are
I'm still me. Like, I forget I'm me all the time. Like, because I don't. There's a difference between being the style bender and being Izzy. Like, I'm not always just walking around like I'm the shit. You know, I don't need to. I already know I'm the shit. So why do I have to walk around to prove to people? Like, I mean, look at how I'm dressed. Look at how I carry myself.
Do you have anything to prove to yourself?
Nah. Sometimes yes. Sometimes when depends on where I'm at in my life. Some things I do need to prove to myself, but then that's the thing. It's to myself, you know, and that's a contract between me and me, and I'm okay with that. But most times to other people, I'm just doing me, and people don't even like it. Sometimes they comment. I'm like, cool.
How important has that gym been, and just the people there, Israel, as well, in that particular facility, the down-homeness of it? We had Phil Murphy on the program last week, and I know you know Phil, and he came and he filmed there, and he said he was driving around for 25 minutes trying to find it, and I said, yeah, it's just a hole-in-the-wall kind of place. But everyone's in there taking care of business, aren't they? I mean, I live around the corner, so without you knowing, I come and have a little...
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just have a little peek every now and again.
You're that guy dropping...
Yeah, I'm that guy. Yeah, look, 'cause I just love the sounds that come out of there. It's a working place, is what it is.
It is.
It's a look, as a gym, there's a couple of things here. It's very much a family environment. There's kids running around. You've got people from absolute novice to world champion, all in the same room, working out at the same time. You've got massive experience there with guys like myself, Eugene, Doug, Twister, guys who have been in combat sports for 30 odd years, who are a bunch of fight nerds who've now got our own kids, etc. So, Israel's got, 150 brothers and sisters and 6 dads, and everyone at the gym does. And he's also got a whole bunch of nephews and nieces and stuff running around. And that is a big part of New Zealand culture, probably a big part of Polynesian and that fusion also with African culture as well. We're a melting pot there, so it's a special place. Look, in combat sports gyms around the world, the most successful ones are actually special places. They're like that, and the feel, the X factor, and the vibe, and the welcoming that is there, and and that's not just because of us as coaches, it's because of the people there. It's also because of the leadership that our top fighters show as well. So, there's no particular thing, there's just a flavour and a fusion that...
How important is that to you? Because I'm sure you've had other offers, haven't you, to go to this gym or move or take your crew somewhere else, all of that kind of stuff.
How
important are these guys to you?
Oh, the best. Like, example, Eugene just got back from quarantine with Brad on Thursday, and I've been sick, but normally he likes to poke the bear and like, oh, why are you sick? But he was just like, you all right? What happened? Is you all right? Like, and I was like, I was quite taken aback the way he responded, because he was cool, calm. But then also the way when I was on the bike, he was just like, he just said something like, come on, boy, let's go. And I just started pushing. Then a few bikes down, I hear Brad grunting. And I'm like, yeah. And I start going. And it's just that. And me and Brad are going to be on the same card. So we're going to do this camp. We're going to do this camp together, and it's just a camaraderie. It's just a brotherhood. And even Eugene, like, just rolled by me and said, like, the last guy, he didn't want to fight, but this guy's going to come to fight. And just little words. He probably doesn't even remember saying that, but little words like that just, like, got me hard. I went home and I was just like, yeah, let's go. Like, it's just motivating, and it's good. Like, it's different having him around. Like, having Mike around's cool. He yells obscenities and whatnot, but Eugene as well is worse. But I love it. Like, it's just good having him around.
You just keep being you, man. That's all you just... And exactly. I know you aren't going to change, are you?
Nah, man. I never change but the change.
Go on.
So one of the most unheralded guys in New Zealand right now is Eugene Barrowman.
Facts.
And everyone knows my position about the Hellbergs and the coaching awards. They couldn't... the powers that be probably couldn't allow us to have two awards in the 1 year, but
I think it would be historic.
This is a truly exceptional coach, and that factor in that gym is massive in terms of the leadership and the drop down effect.